it, jerk out. Welcome back. I am finally here to do my next video about Graffiti Bridge. Yep, it's taken me long enough. I've been doing a lot of planning for this one. This is one of the important ones. Again, found some more stuff about the new tour. Been doing a bit of reading too behind these songs. And what was funny about the new tour, just finishing up, was NME and Melody Maker both reviewed the shows, and basically NME said it was rubbish, and that was the one who basically talked about it created no excitement with the dances and everything. Although the Dutch disagree, whereas Melody Maker, on the other hand, liked the first half but didn't like the second half because he said there was too much emphasis on rhythm and rap, which is quite funny because I think this is still an era when all these white Prince fans wanted Prince to come across as a white rock and pop artist, but didn't realise that as the 90s wore on, Prince would get blacker and blacker and blacker, basically. But anyway, that's what we're here to talk about, because as Prince got blacker, his music got funkier and darker, and Graffiti Bridge in a lot of ways is a very funky and very dark album. Although some may disagree, because when we talk about the history of these tracks, generally the more darker and nastier tracks were given to the time, whereas Prince's songs is more sort of light and spiritual with a sort of lovesexy vibe to them. Now, the roots of this album, they reach in really deep and really wide. Okay, just before we go ahead with it, just a big shout out to the Night Child and Mr. Ants. Starting August is their Graffiti Bridge month. They're going to be doing a series of Graffiti Bridge videos, which is going to be really great because now we are approaching that anniversary. On the 21st of August is the actual 30th anniversary of Graffiti Bridge, you know, and they're going to be doing Purple Picks of the Week, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping they're going to pick songs like you know, The Question of You, Thieves in the Temple, and Still With Stand Time. And I hope they'll actually reach deeper into the vault and actually talk about the grand progression, which is the song I'm going to talk about today. And even if they look at some of the remixes like Lubricated Lady, Love Left, Love Right, and all that type of stuff, basically, because there was just a lot of exciting stuff coming out in this era. But as we get into that, now we finished the plugin, plus I've got a couple of visual treats to offer you at the end of this video if you keep watching it. I'm going to divide into two parts. First parts, we're going to just briefly talk about every song on the album, how it came about and how old it was and what happened with it. And then we're going to just briefly mention the different permutations of the Graffiti Bridge project as it evolved out. Okay, not so much the movie, more the music, but because it's Graffiti Bridge, inevitably the movie's going to have to come into it. Although I'm going to review that movie in a separate video. Well, first of all, I'm going to have to watch it again because honestly, I've owned a copy of Graffiti Bridge for like 12 years now, as you can see. Basically, but I will admit I've only watched the Graffiti Bridge movie like 3 or 4 times. I mean, if you look at the disc, you'll probably find, see, it's got hardly anywhere at all on it. You know, yes, this is a guilty secret. I'm one of the few Prince fans who actually has a CD copy of Graffiti Bridge that's not a bootleg. Yes, I actually paid real money for this shit, so you guys are just going to crack up, basically. I mean, I love the cover though, isn't that funny? It's like Prince is looking at you. Yeah. But that whole thing, I was actually reading about that in the Matt Thorne book yesterday too. That portrait of Prince he painted in late 1989, Prince saw it and went, oh my god, I love it. And then he said, okay, you're going to paint around this. You're going to paint a backdrop, and basically there's the backdrop that appears on the Graffiti Bridge album. And basically he had to print in, you know, Morris Day and all that type of stuff too. So that's where that whole image comes from. Okay, now Graffiti Bridge, the album, has 17 songs on it. Realistically, 16 songs, because track 2 and track 17 are basically the same song continued on. 17 is just sort of like an extended rap with the rhythm track going over top of it. Now, of the 16, 17 songs, who you want to call it, on the songs, 19 of those songs are Prince songs. Basically, when I say Prince, I mean Prince wrote all the music, but in the fact that Prince was the main performer on the songs, it was Prince and his New Power Generation band. Okay, 4 are Time songs. All 4 of those songs are from the aborted Corporate World album from 1989. Of course, some of them ended up on Pandemonium, some of them ended up here, and some of them, like Donald Trump Black version. No, sorry, I'm trying to think. There was a song called My Some Skillet or something. I can't remember. It will come to me. But there was one song that never ever got released. It wasn't Donald Trump Black version. That one actually stayed there. One is Mavis Staples song. One is a George Clinton Prince duet in a lot of ways, and of course the Prince Tevin Campbell duet. Now I'm going to talk about the songs, first of all the Prince songs and then all the others, and then mention their roots, which as we said run very deep and very old, basically. Fortunately, you know, this came out just last year, and what's interesting about this, I'm showing you 1999 when we talk about Graffiti Bridge, is that 3 of the songs 4 of the songs date from this era, basically. And first of all, the first song is Can't Stop This Feeling I've Got. This song dates back to about January of 1982. It appears on disc 3 of this set, basically. And again, it's also Can't Stop This Feeling. I've got the 1982 version as a sort of easy rockabilly version. However, Prince re-recorded again in late 1986 for a group called 3 O'Clock, who were an early Paisley Park signing. Again, thank you to Prince Vault for all this info and all the books I read and just little bits I know myself. But this is really interesting because when you look at Graffiti Bridge, I mean, 99% of the time, all the albums up to 1988, 89, Prince pretty much recorded them on the moment, or at the most he basically used songs that were maybe 1 or 2 years old that had been intended for the project, but the project got delayed for various reasons. But with Graffiti Bridge, such a large chunk of it is just basically Prince taking some old songs out of the vault and just, unfortunately, my opinion, ruining them, basically. And generally the best songs on this album are the ones that were very recent. I mean, Thieves and Temple basically was a 1990 song recorded in 1990 and has that freshness about it. It's not overproduced like a lot of these early songs. I mean, Can't Stop This Feeling I've Got's actually not quite so bad. It's actually quite a good song. I mean, the part about, Dear Father, he's writing letters to his dead dad, dark stuff. It's actually a pretty good song. I'm not going to knock it, basically. It's decent. Okay, the version you hear on the album, of course, is late 1989. We don't know what late 1989 means. We probably mean October, November of 89, maybe December even. At the same time, probably Prince had got tired of the Batman project and he realised it was time to move on to something new. And also, probably he recorded all his music before the movie, which was taped between February and April of 1990, although apparently there was some reshooting of scenes in July 1990 in between breaks of the Nude Tour. But anyway, so that's Can't Stop This Feeling I Got. The 1982 version is very nice. It's sort of a slow down rockabilly version, and Prince is actually singing in a deeper voice. It's one of the first songs where Prince isn't singing in falsetto. And then we move on to the New Power generation. This song has got an amazing coda. Lay down your funky records, come join us on the floor. Making love and music's the only things we're fighting for. Okay, that part is all late in 1989, 1990. The original version, which you also know as Bold Generation, and honestly, again, Bold Generation from early 1982. 12th of January, actually, so this is right back in the sort of, controversy 1999. It's actually more controversy era than 1999. I think Bold Generation might have even been one of the songs intended for the, so it was actually intended for the second Time album. What time is it? Originally I was going to say Vanity 6, but I thought this had too much meat to be a Vanity 6 song, and again, it's just a very sort of in-your-face funk stomp, and with Bold Generation, we want to change the world. The only thing that's in our way is you. Sadly, what Prince did with it, he made it in 82, left it in the vault all that time. He didn't bother working on it in 86 or 87 like he did with a lot of other songs. And basically, Prince took it out late 89, overproduced the living fuck out of it, to be honest. And pretty much, like I said, if you've got this, you know what that 82 version sounds like. You play that next to the version on Graffiti Bridge, you've got a much different song. And honestly, I think Bold Generation kicks New Power Generation's ass any day. Although it still has some parts. I mean, the rapping is awful, but Prince's singing is pretty good. It's got a nice hook and melody, but again, there's just a bit too much going on in the mix. And then we get to the Question of You. Now, this is definitely one of the highlights on the album. Now, this song actually is different to the others. It's not from 82, 83, and it's not from 86, 87. This was actually taped in the July 85 in the sort of whole parade era. Okay, it was traded at the Adena warehouse. That was actually the warehouse where you see actually in the Purple Rain movie, which has got, part with Morris Day and Vanity Apollonia 60s go, cat, 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 you ladies don't seem to, all that shit, Yeah, that's basically re-recorded it. The building got demolished not long afterwards, and Prince had his home studio, then of course he had Paisley Park. The Question of You is a beautiful song. It was meant for something on parade, so in a lot of ways it was actually meant for Christopher Tracy. Again, it was kind of recycled in late 1987. There was also a Flesh version, which was just instrumental. And Flesh, that project, like, you got to shake something and up from below, junk music, y'all want some more, all that, so that, I haven't heard that version. It would sound really great, though. It's sort of like a whole pre-Madhouse thing. That would be really amazing. It was actually added to the 1987 idea of Graffiti Bridge, because with Graffiti Bridge, there was the Cocoa Boys in 86, there was the idea of doing Graffiti Bridge in late 87 after Sign, and just after Black, and then, of course, the first configuration of the album actually dates from late 88. So this is 87. In March 1990, the song had some, that's basically what you hear on the album is basically this late 1987, this 85 version with some 87 vocal mixes, but basically the saxophone, which is really nice, that's Candy Dolfer, and she was actually taped onto it in March of 1990. And also added to that was Claire Fisher's strings, pretty much. Okay, Elephants and Flowers. Now this is actually one of the very late songs, and it's not bad. It's just a wee bit fillery and throwaway. I mean, I'm like a bombshell. If you ever get you anyone, oh no, sorry, it's Tick Tick Bang. No, Elephants and Flowers. You know that song. It's pretty forgettable. Go. There will be peace for those who love God a lot. Oh God, sounds like a Lovesexy hangover. It was recorded in October '88, and some even think it was actually for that first version of Graffiti Bridge. Others say it was for the Rave project. Who knows? But it's definitely from that sort of post Lovesexy, pre-Batman era. Different verses in this '88 version. Again, 1989, Prince took it out, polished it up, polished the turd, and then put some more overproduced shit on it. Basically, I mean, the performance of that song, basically, in the Graffiti Bridge movie has to be one of his most rich-worthy performances ever, along with pretty much Tick Tick Bang. Yep. So there you are. Weekend Funk, even though it's a George Clinton song, it actually is a Prince song. Now this has a really impressive pedigree and a very funny one, as we all know. We heard what this song originally was in 2017. It originally was recorded on the 30th of December '83 in the same era which produced such songs as Raspberry Beret, Erotic City, and that type of stuff. He also recorded a song which is called Moral Majority. That was the first title of it because he knew that Tipper Gore and all those people who opposed his Rudy music would just go have kittens at it. The original version of the song was called We Can Fuck, and we've all heard it. It's one of the most brilliant Prince songs of all time. Go, oh baby, you're so beautiful, you're so expected, baby. Ooh, we can fuck. But unfortunately the song again was ruined in this era, late 1989. Prince will put all this bloody shit. Sorry, in '86 there was actually a new version where the lines were changed to Weak and Funk, and it's actually quite funky. It's got this sort of like Dream Factory, Crystal Ball type feel to it. And then in '89 he did the horrible overdubs, like I'm testing positive to the funk. I'd rather be in any of anyone's cup and let your cup overflow. I'm testing positive. And it's also got George Clinton singing. I think you can also hear Robin Power, who was some woman that he was doing it with at the same time, and I think the Steels are on that as well. And then we get to Join Repetition, which is probably one of the greatest songs on the album. Join Repetition was recorded July 1986 for the Dream Factory. Amazing song. Of course, it's always tied up with an extra song called Soul Psychedelicide, which he actually references in the song. The song's a year long and they've been playing for months. Again, this is you can tell this is a song from that sort of classic Camille Sign of the Times era, and he isn't. Fortunately, unlike the other songs, he did not mess around with it. Basically, what you hear on the album is what he recorded in July '86. There's no overdubs. There's not even any Candy overdubs. There's no if the strings are on it, the strings were added in the '80s, not in the '90s. Okay, and then we get to Tick Tick Bang. Okay, this is by far the oldest song on the album. This goes right back to December '81. Even though it's on this, it's actually like the first song along with Irresistible Bitch and Feel You Up, basically. Oh no, I think it's not actually. I always get it mixed up, but I have heard it because it's a bootleg. Tick Tick Bang goes, I want to masturbate. Oh, and then I'm going to get you and I'm all alone. If I ever try to get you and get you all alone, tick tick bang. It's actually controversy era. Absolutely funny song, sexy falsetto, squeaky organs running through it. Absolutely hilarious. Again, the 1989 version is absolutely horrendous. I mean, it's been polished to an inch of its life. Unfortunately, overproduced as heck. Please don't. I want a 24-karat relationship, so baby, don't spit me out. Tick, tick, bang. You're such a bombshell. All that shit is from '89. It's not from '81. Basically, again, '81 version is much better. Okay, and there's also a sample of the old Jimi Hendrix song "Little Miss Lover" in there as well. Okay. And then we get to Thieves in the Temple. Now, Thieves in the Temple, remember I'm just doing Prince songs first, Protégé songs next. Thieves in the Temple was actually recorded on the 11th of February 1990. It was by far the last song recorded for the album. Okay, it features Prince singing the lyrics, which are really good. Wonderful pop song. Go, love come quick, love come in a hurry. There were thieves in the temple tonight. Great singing, great falsetto. Has the Steels on backing. That's Jovita, basically, and her sisters and brothers. And of course, also there's a harmonica solo from an obscure 1960s R&B act called the Chamber Brothers. I can't remember, but they did actually have a couple of hit songs in the late 60s, sort of like Message Soul. And then, but still, Thieves in the Temple. Some critics like Matt Thorne agree it's probably the best song on the album, along with Join Repetition and The Question of You. And then we get into Still Would Stand All Time. Now this is an interesting song. It was actually officially recorded on the 6th of October 1988, although it didn't appear on a lineup of the Prince Graffiti Bridge album until late 1989. They believe that the Steels vocals, because again the Steels are singing back up on this. They were added in late '89, possibly very early 1990. Basically, it supplanted another song called The Grand Progression. Now, Still With Stand All Time divides the critics. Most people love it. Some people think it's just syrupy and overwrought. In some ways it is, but it's still very beautiful. Although The Grand Progression is a much better song. And again, dating is confusing because even though it says it was recorded 6th of October, I mean, you hear it on a small club version, basically, and that was actually taped in August 1988. So, I mean, who knows when the song dates from. It probably does date from that sort of early 1988 Graffiti Bridge 1988 rave era. Anyway, it's an amazing song. Then we get to Graffiti Bridge. Now, this, out of all the Prince songs on the album, this is probably by far the weakest. It's hard to believe that Prince actually recorded the song in July 1987 because it just sounds so awful. It's basically pretty much completely replaced in late '89. Okay, that I do believe, basically. The only good thing about the song is that Claire Fisher put strings on it in December '89, January 90. No one's 100% sure exactly when. It's just too syrupy and overall. I mean, the vocals, okay, you've got the Steels and you've got like I think it sounds like Mavis and possibly Robin Power and Prince and members of the MPG are singing out going, everybody's looking for love, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, normally a title song of a project should be a great song like Purple Rain, for instance, or even Under the Cherry Moon, but this is fluff, basically. And finally, MPG Part 2, well, that's all mainly just a rap Sugu that was added in 1990, TC's anti-cocaine rap. It's actually not that bad. It's a guilty pleasure. You find something and go, cocaine was the guys that I took on. I was living in the dark when it came. Yo, sing it, yo, let me kid, let me rap, let me go on, let's do it. Let's kick it for the 90s. This here rap's about a true confession. If you listen closely, you might learn a lesson. You gotta learn failure before you learn success. I was living in a... Okay. That's enough, but yeah. Okay, let's talk about Protégé songs. Alright, the 4 Time songs. Okay, I love the Time. I mean, the first 3 albums of the Time are all great. Basically, the Feature Black podcast just reviewed Pandemonium, and they pretty much agreed that Jerk Out, Blondie, Pandemonium, and a couple of other songs were great, and the rest was just all complete rubbish. Just lots of segs and lots of just filler cuts. And unfortunately, it's bad thing about it, you got the Prince songs clashing up the Jam and Lewis ones. Yep, and unfortunately the 4 songs on the Graffiti Bridge are by far probably the worst Time songs ever recorded. I mean, very rarely do the Time get it wrong, but boy do they get it wrong here. Release It, it's not that bad, it's just because I think Morris's character in the movie was just so repellent and so horrible, people are really put off by it. Release It was recorded in summer 1989 along with the rest of the Corporate World project. It features Candy Dolfer with her saxophone added a bit later. Basically, it talks about this girl called Estella. I think that's the name they're giving them. Go, find me Estella to rap to. Jerome, yes. Find me Estella to rap to. Peep Stella, because you think that I'm afraid of you. You think I can't do. You better wake up, girl, and release it. So it's a bit of a rap sort of funk thing, but I'm not that crazy about it. Then we've got Love Machine. Now, this is really, really bad. I mean, this would have to be one of the worst songs I've ever heard. I mean, again, it's from Corporate World, summer '89. Candy Dolfer basically put, saxophone on it in autumn '89. Remember, autumn is like end of the year over in the Northern Hemisphere. The female part included first Jill Jones and then also Elise Fiorillo, I think it is. I don't know, I can't speak Spanish, Italian in New Zealand, but some type of Spanish, Italian. Anyway, it's just so forgettable going. It's just, love machine, yeah, I've got the moves to turn your body out. It reminds me a lot of the Do You How You Want to Be Done type rap from 1992. I mean, oh God, I mean, even in the movie, it's just dreadful. I mean, it's just the sexist pile of pablum, basically, the way to describe it. Okay, I mean, realistically, Graffiti Bridge would have been much better just with the Prince cuts and just no Protégé stuff, because it's all absolutely just awful. Shake is probably the best of the 4 songs. It's actually quite a good little dance and stomp number, and it was actually the 5th single released off Graffiti Bridge. It actually wasn't released as part of the Time project because it doesn't appear on Pandemonium. None of these songs, by the way, appear on Pandemonium. I mean, Jerk Out, that was actually on Pandemonium, and you don't actually hear Jerk Out. It's like some samples in the back and the part where the Time come in to Prince's Club glam slam and go, chucking everything in sight, chucking everything in sight, all that shit, you know, yeah. And Shake's actually got a very good R&B rhythm drum along some nice, you know, sax and keys running through it, and Morris's, you know, sort of braggy vocals. The latest fashion, now this song in some ways is good, some ways is bad. It's a Prince vocal, and Prince sings it's alright. So, you know, you said I wanted you 'cause this is the latest fashion. It's to light in the heat of passion. And it is a bit better, and again, it actually dates right back from April '87. You're going to laugh at this. Another forgettable Paisley Park act called Dale Bozio. I mean, what a name, you know. I don't know what race that is. Probably Italian or Spanish or Mexican or something. She had an album basically called Riot in English, and Prince wrote this song for her, and I'm not sure if you did it or not. I've never seen a Dale Bozio album. I don't even know who or what a Dale Bozio is. Maybe someone can tell me what a Dale Bozio is. I mean, the name just reduces me to fits of laughter. Sorry, it's the Anglo-Saxon New Zealand sort of background, you know. Anyway, this Dale Bozio version dates from April '87, and June '89 again it was taken out and basically put on Corporate World, and again Candy Dolphin sax was added later. Then we get to Round and Round. Now Round and Round featured 13-year-old Tevin Campbell, basically, and it's a duet between him and Prince. Now this was recorded sometime in December '89 when Tevin was breaking through as a singer. It's the only Prince track on his album apart from a couple of others. His album was mostly a Quincy Jones production, but Tevin was actually borrowed to play in it was in Mavis's club Melody Cool, and it was basically they were all these rap mixes and other shit put on it in the summer of '90. Round and Round was released as the second single and reached a respectable number 12 on the pop charts. Okay, that leaves just one song, Melody Cool. Now this is another song. It was originally recorded in July '87, along with Joy and Repetition. Apparently these were the first two songs recorded in the Paisley Park studio. Pretty much, even though it opened in September '87, Prince had actually started working in there in March, and the first 4 songs came out in July because the Sign of the Times thing kind of interrupted. Okay, and then GB, and again, originally the first versions was for the 1988 Graffiti Bridge and Rave releases. Late '89, it was basically Mavis Staples over-recorded it, of course, on top of some Prince guide vocals, and then Mavis also did her version at the start of 1990, Prince's guide vocals from late '89. Melody Calls, it's just a very forgettable song. I'm sorry, I mean, I like Mavis Staples, I think she has a wonderful voice, but it's just forgettable. I'm still Melody, and I'm still cool. Melody Cole, yeah, I think you got some Steele's vocals over top. And I think the most interesting part about it is the part that goes, ow! You hear like this Prince Michael Jackson type, ow, in the middle of it. But yeah, so there's the roots of the songs. Deep and complex, but sadly, the worst thing about them is that a lot of the older songs are actually, the earlier versions are much better. I mean, unfortunately, Graffiti Bridge was really Prince's first album, where everything was just overproduced to oblivion, basically, and that's not a good thing, I'm sorry. Now, if we talk about the actual hit, I think I might cut it off here. We're at 23 minutes, it's just too long. Yep, so the next video we'll talk about the roots of the project.